Give me Damian Lillard. I'll show you how appreciated he'll be.
Lillard steps back, fires, takes it in again.
Oh my goodness.
And as a result, especially when Damian Lillard got eliminated last night, several calls have come their way. You got a lot of teams, about 6 or 7 different teams believe they can get their hands on them. They think they've got a shot.
And so it begins. And if you ask me, it was about freaking time. Damian Lillard is going to be one of the hottest topics this offseason, and rightfully so. He's one of the best scorers in the game. He's one of the best players in the game. As a matter of fact, where do you guys rank Damian Lillard in today's NBA? If you guys want me to do some ranking videos headed into this offseason, let me know. Because I ask you guys where you guys would rank players all the time, but I really don't give you guys my player rankings that often. And this offseason, we're going to need topics to talk about. When it comes to Dame, for me, he's easily top 10, and you can make the argument that he's top 5. He's been doing what he's been doing for too long. And even though the love is there, I still feel like it's not enough. While I think it's awesome to see a star like Damian Lillard stay committed to their teams through the good times and the bad times, sometimes I wonder, how would we view Dame if he played for a legitimate contender? While the Portland Trailblazers have had teams, they've had good teams, they were never close to being good enough to win it all, at least in my opinion. When they got swept by the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, they were good. They overachieved. At no point in time were they contending, in my opinion. It's crazy how winning, how the rosters around players can change people's perception of one player. We're seeing it right now with Devin Booker. Right now, Book is getting all of the love that he should have been getting all along. I'm not going to say nothing changed with Book because it's clear that he's gotten a lot better. But to me, the biggest change for Book and the Phoenix Suns was the change that occurred internally within the Phoenix Suns organization. They went out and they put together a squad that could showcase Book to the best of his abilities, let the man flourish. As a Pelicans fan, I'm no stranger to players leaving. When Chris Paul left, it hurt, but I understood. When Anthony Davis left, it also hurt, but yet again, I also understood. We had our shots and we had our chances to win with AD, but it didn't work out. As an AD fan and as a Pelicans fan, I'm glad that Anthony Davis wanted more for himself and saw more for himself. While the way that he left sucks, I could never hate on a ring. Winning changes perception, and unfortunately in the history books, it feels like perception is everything. Dame is cold-blooded, and while the guy simply doesn't miss the playoffs, every season it feels like he's been left wanting more, and now he's letting everybody know about it. Now, before we go any further, I noticed a large chunk of you guys are not subscribed. Subscribing to my channel helps me out a ton, so be sure to subscribe and turn notifications on. If you turn notifications on, you'll be entered into a giveaway. Trust me, you will not want to miss another Get Like Coop video, and that's facts. Lastly, be sure to check out my podcast, Me the Flight Mike Korzimba. We bring you guys all types of entertainment on Laced Up. The link to Laced Up is going to be down in the description below. Now let's talk hoops. If you guys watch Laced Up, you guys would know that I picked the Blazers to upset the Denver Nuggets. I also said Dame would go off and the Nuggets would have no answer for Lillard. While the Nuggets had no answers for Lillard, the Blazers had no answers for the Nuggets. This series, Damian Lillard averaged 34.3 points per game, and it wasn't enough. There was one game where Dame dropped 55. He was 12 of 17 from the three-point line. He missed 7 shots total. He did everything in his power to try to drag the Blazers to a victory, and his efforts still were not enough. Dame gave us one of the greatest playoff performances that I'd ever seen in my life. This guy missed 7 shots. He dropped 55 points. And the Blazers still could not beat a Jamal Murray-less Nuggets. To conclude this series, Damian Lillard became the 4th player in NBA history with 200 points and 60 assists in a playoff series, joining LeBron James, Jerry West, and Oscar Robertson. But check this out. Lillard was the only one to do this feat, in 6 games. Yeah, Dame is like that, but he needs a roster that's going to complement him. This Dame and CJ thing has been going on for a while. How long until it's time for something different? How long until Damian Lillard gets frustrated? Wait, we might already be there. March 30th, 2021, Damian Lillard said, "Loyalty is my biggest flaw. I'm too solid for this weird era." Fast forward to the end of the series, and Dame is faced with yet another harsh reality. He said, obviously, where we are isn't good enough to win a championship. If it's not good enough to get out of a first-round series with 2 of their best 3 or 4 players not on the floor. And if you think that's bad, we move over to IG, and Dame's over here saying, how long should I stay dedicated? How long till opportunity meets preparation? While Dame was quoting the great Nipsey, I think it's safe to say that he quoted Nipsey for a reason. You can take this quote from Dame a bunch of different ways. Maybe he's just voicing his frustration, or maybe Dame is thinking about something greater. According to Stephen A., there are already some teams calling and inquiring about the availability of Damian Lillard. And I'm going to tell you guys about those teams in just a second, but first I want to ask you guys this. How would we view Steph Curry if he never won a ring? What if Steph Curry was drafted to the wrong team? Does our perception of him as a basketball player drastically change? Are we still calling Stephen Curry the greatest point guard of all time? Ring culture will forever be wild to me. I can't believe how many people boosted KD up for joining one of the greatest basketball teams assembled. Man, I've been a KD fan since the Texas days, but those Warriors rings just did not do much for me. As a Blazers fan, I'm going to appreciate what Dame's done. I'm going to love what he's accomplished for us. If he wanted to leave, I wouldn't be the slightest bit disappointed in anybody other than the Blazers organization. The coaching situation is a mess. The roster's been stuffed with undersized guards and poor defenders. According to Stephen A., some of the teams interested in Dame include the Knicks, the Clippers, the Miami Heat, and he said, who knows? There's also a decent chance that the Lakers try to pull off the spectacular. And yeah, so I pretty much paraphrased that last part, but let's be real. Dame in Los Angeles with LeBron and Anthony Davis would be gas. When Dame was asked if he had the opportunity to sign with any team in the league other than the Portland Trailblazers, who would it be? He said if the Blazers didn't want me, he would sign with the Utah Jazz or the Los Angeles Lakers. If Dame teamed up with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I couldn't even hate. I would say Dame deserved it. While scenarios like this are fun, the reality is that Dame is still signed with Portland through 2025. So until he gives us hard evidence that he wants to leave, it's safe to assume that he's going to remain with the Portland Trailblazers. On the other side of things, we have seen better situations unravel much faster. Dame is 30 going on 31. The clock is ticking. The Portland Trailblazers have to make a major move if they want to keep Damian Lillard happy. I'm not talking about a small trade like Norman Powell. I'm not talking about a small trade like Robert Covington. Go big or go home. Everybody hated on the Rockets when they were building around Harden, but one thing the Rockets weren't afraid to do was go all in, and I'll never be mad at Daryl Morey for trying. Now, I'm sure in the future Dame will come out and explain his post, but again, what players say and what players do and are thinking are two different things, even though Dame has always struck me as an incredibly honest person. When it comes to this Damian Lillard situation, I don't think there is an easy answer, because any team that's trading for Damian Lillard is going to have to give up a ton of assets, which if you're a contender, that's pretty hard to do. The Brooklyn Nets were able to do it for Harden because they were so well built and they drafted incredibly well. You know what's crazy? The Brooklyn Nets still have assets to spare. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure that there's a team right now that is set up like the Brooklyn Nets to where they could trade for Damian Lillard and still be a pretty deep, well-rounded team. The New Orleans Pelicans have a ton of assets, but they're not exactly a winner yet, and Zion would not be on the same timeline as Damian Lillard, even though that would be incredibly gas to watch. You know what? I'll say right now, I think Dame and Zion would be a match made in basketball paradise. Actually, maybe this is a little crazy, but I think the Warriors might be able to put together a fire package for a star. I'm not sure they have the assets to get a Damian Lillard type star, but the Warriors could put together a pretty fire package. I'm going to say this right now. Just keep your eyes peeled when it comes to the Golden State Warriors this offseason. I think this team is going to pull off something big. And that's not me going off of sources or anything like that. That's me looking at their assets, looking at their talent, and just having a hunch. Apparently, the Blazers want to heavily involve Dame in their coaching search. Hey, I guess it's a start. Let me know what you guys think about this Damian Lillard situation down in the comments below. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm Get Like Coop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.